No. Don't tell me. Don't tell me we're about to see fucking Oikawa. They're on the same team. What the fuck? Haran! Hinata. No, don't do this to me. It's really over, huh? Hey guys, my name is Chantel. Welcome back to my channel and thanks for hanging out with me today. So, I know I'm a mess because I just got done crying and having an emotional breakdown about Haikyuu throughout this whole video, as you guys will see in a little bit. But I'm about to explain what's going on with what you guys saw my little reaction here as I do my makeup. I'm explaining it to you, so I'm not going to discuss it here in my little intro. So I'm just gonna stop talking and let you guys see the rest of the video. I hope you guys enjoy. So, we're finally here at chapter 402, the finale for the manga, the final chapter, you guys. I am feeling so many emotions. But before I get into, talking about the chapter itself, let me explain a little bit what you just saw at the beginning of the video, which was my mini reaction. So, first off, as I said before, I suck at reactions. I don't like doing them for a good reason. I don't really tend to react to things. I'm more of like a very quiet and, I'm screaming on the inside kind of person. I guess that's the best way to explain it. I don't know. I just don't really show it. And on top of that, I feel like maybe I would have had a better reaction if my family wasn't asleep. My whole family was like sleeping in and I really did not want them to hear me cry and scream over Haikyuu. To be fair though, they do know I have a YouTube channel and stuff like that, and they're pretty used to it, but at the same time, I don't want them to come in and be like, you okay there? I had to keep it quiet, which is why you can kind of hear me at the beginning kind of whispering a little bit. But that video that you guys just saw was basically me reacting to when we first see Nakoma, Tsukishima, and Kyotani being on the same team, and then basically towards the end of the chapter, which was where I really started bawling my eyes out. And I guess let me explain there, because like most of the video I think you guys can get a sense of what I'm reacting to, but with that last chunk, like there was just so much footage of me like hysterically crying and just like quietly sobbing. I was just like here like crying and like tears would not stop falling. And basically what like hit me was pretty much when I read that Haikyuu is volleyball or something among those lines. That's when it really hit me, and I think it sunk in that this was it. I'm like finishing this chapter. This is it. This is the last time I'll see these characters. And then once I saw like the very end, I'm trying really hard not to cry, but it's just, obviously it's kind of hard to talk about Haikyuu. It's not bad, but it's hard not to like want to cry when I'm talking about it. That's pretty much the gist of it. So with that being said, let's just go ahead and talk about this chapter because I feel like I have a lot to say. And I guess one more thing to add on, I will be making a video, like a whole separate video, just letting out my thoughts basically overall for the series and just kind of like tell you guys how I feel with its conclusion, and like, I don't know, just like spill out my feelings and just tell you guys how much I really loved Haikyuu. So pretty much what that video is going to be is kind of like my goodbye, or like my somewhat of a very messy love letter to Haikyuu. That's the best way I'm going to describe that video. So I hope you guys look forward to that if you guys want to know. So I hope you guys are excited for that, because I am sure very much looking forward to me crying the whole time. Anyways, going back to the main topic at hand, which is this week's chapter, chapter 402, the finale. So we basically get like this color page of Kurasano like back in the day, and oh man, it really hit me. Like I was trying really hard not to cry at that point, and then when you flip over to the next few pages, you see like this big old color spread of all the characters together just playing volleyball, hanging out, and it's such a beautiful color spread. It took me a while to like look through it because I was just like looking at everybody and seeing what they were doing and just laughing at their little interactions, like little things that you start to notice as the more you look at that color spread. And I think that's also when it hit me like, this is it. This is gonna be the last time I read this. Like, I need to enjoy it to the fullest. And like I said, I kind of stayed there for a little while and I just kind of took it all in. I was taking my time as much as I could, just letting my feelings, you know, sink in and just take it all in as much as I could. And as soon as you see the color spread and move on to the next page, we get to see our boy Tendo, which I don't know, I completely forgot that we still didn't know what Tendo was up to up until we saw him, and I was like, oh shit, that's right, we didn't get to figure out what he was doing or where he was. And we get to find out that he's basically like a chocolatier, which as soon as I read that I was like, he's basically Willy Wonka. Like, tell me none of you didn't think that immediately. Like, like I can't be the only one who thought that. Anyway, so the whole thing opens up with him, I think, like having like this TV show or interview show, and then we get to see like Ushiwaka like come in, and it was just such a cute little interaction that I actually did start crying here. Because one, it was really cute, but two, like seeing these two's friendship was just, I don't know why it hit me so hard just seeing these two together. Like for some reason it just hit me like a ton of bricks, and these two saying that, you know, they're best friends, like they fulfilled the promise that they made each other back when they lost to Kurasano, which I thought was just like, oh, like everyone out there has already said this, but like it's just coming full circle. Everything is just coming back. All the promises are being fulfilled. And I think that's also why I just was like bawling my eyes out. Which, by the way, I did cut that part out in the video just because, again, it was just me crying the whole time. And I'm like, you know, how many times in this video am I gonna show you guys, like, how many times did I cry? Like, I think seeing me cry at the end was enough. Anyway, so moving on to the next thing that I do want to talk about, which is we finally get to see our Nekoma boys. Oh my gosh, my god, did we take forever to get here. But I am so happy we finally got to see how the rest of Nekoma is, because they're just such a huge part of Haikyuu. Like, they're part of the story too, so I was really wondering how Furudate was going to show us our Nekoma boys, and lo and behold, we get to see them all together, and it's so nice, and everyone seems to be doing good for themselves, which I'm really happy. I'm really happy that we got to see where they're at in their lives, and it's great, man. And they're all hanging out at Kemma's house. Well, most of them are hanging out at Kemma's house, but basically we get to also see Yaku, which, let me tell you, I do have footage of this, but when I saw Yaku, I was like, there's no way that's Yaku. But when I saw that it said Yaku, I was like, what? Because he looks so different with the shades and his hair slicked back. I was like, oh my god, this boy, like, just, what? Like, I wish I had that kind of glow up. Like, man, does he look nice. And that's when we learn that he was basically playing for Russia, which I will say that I already knew about this piece of information because of the volleyball magazine that was released earlier in the week. And I remember when that thing got released, everyone was like, hey, why isn't anybody talking about this? Like, this is official. And we all lost our minds. I lost my mind, and it wasn't until I think later on they released a statement or something like that. They released something with like the Haikyuu characters. So if I can find it, I'll post it here. And it basically said, be careful if you see that because it contains minor spoilers, and everyone was like, oh, oops. It's kind of too late for that. Kind of too late for that warning, right? So I already knew going into this chapter where certain characters or certain things were gonna happen, just based on that. Or not necessarily like certain things were gonna happen, but like I had an idea, was like, okay, but how is that gonna work, you know? So that wasn't too much of a surprise for me, which if I didn't see that, I definitely think I would have had like a way more like intense reaction, for sure. But you know what? It's all good, it's fine, it's fine. But when we see Yaku, we also get to see another Nekoma character, but not physically. We just get to see him like up on like this big old billboard kind of thing, screen, whatever you want to call it. And we basically get to see our boy Liev, and not only Liev, but also his sister Alyssa. And they're both models. And I'm like, holy shit, like they look so freaking good. Like those two are just so beautiful and gorgeous. But who would have thought these two would have ended up like models together? Like I think that's really cute that these two ended up models. Like, and then you see like this big old poster with both of them together, like the siblings. It's just really cute. And man, Liam looks so good. Like he looks so good. I don't know what else I could add on to that. So let's just move on to the next thing at topic, which we get to see Kanoka. And I was so happy when I saw her. I did have a little tiny reaction. I was just like, oh my gosh, we get to see her. And you know, she's still playing volleyball professionally. And we also get to see that Tanaka and Kyoko are like watching her. And I think it's so cute because they're watching from home through their TV, obviously. And it's just like really adorable to see the, you know, husband and wife together and just cheering her on. Like it was a cute little thing. Which then goes into a few days later, and this is where we get to see Daichi and Suga at Tanaka's and Kyoko's home. And this is basically where we learn where Asahi is at right now, and he basically decided to go ahead and join Nishinoya on his little world adventure, and it looks like they're hanging out in Egypt and they look pretty happy, which honestly I shouldn't be surprised that we got to see Asahi and Nishinoya together. Those two were like really close and really respected one another, so to see them again together like one last time was a really nice touch. And then once you like skip over to the next page, we see like a whole bunch of other characters as well and see where they're at too. And we got to see Mika and Daisho, which I was really happy. Which when I saw these two, I was like, please tell me that they're together, but we have no idea if they're together or not. So I'm just gonna go by, like, maybe it's just me because I'm kind of hoping that they're still together because they were really cute together. I'm not gonna lie, they were really cute together. So I'm hoping that they're still together. But that's okay that we didn't get confirmation. It's fine. It's totally fine. And moving on to the next thing I do want to talk about, which is we get to see the boys at the Olympic stage basically. And once again, I already knew who was on the roster already because of like that one page that people were sharing on Twitter. So again, that wasn't too much of a surprise for me, seeing who was on the roster. But what was a surprise for me though was when we saw Iwaizumi, which I was really happy about, by the way. Like, he looks so good. On top of that, the boy is 27. I'm like, holy shit, we're the same age, which, I mean, pretty much all the third years in Haikyuu are the same age as me, which I think is so wild. I'm like, oh my gosh, they were born like in 94, 95, like around there. Like, how wild is that? Like, never in my wildest dreams did I think that these characters would be the same age as me, and here we are. Anyway, so we got to see that he is pretty much like the athletic trainer, and I'm like, oh my gosh, did he train everybody? And obviously like everyone's saying, yeah, he did train everybody that is on this team, and I'm just like, oh my gosh, like that's pretty cool though. I think that's really cool. So after that, we get to see like these panels like in the back of each character, which is Kageyama, Ushiwaka, and Iwaizumi. And that's where you guys see the reaction of me going, don't tell me that we're about to see Oikawa. And when you look at the very bottom, you see him with the Seijo flag, and I'm like, oh my god, this is actually happening. And then you turn to the next page, and lo and behold, who do we see? Our boy Oikawa. And I was so incredibly happy to see him again. Like, you guys have no idea how happy I was to see him. Oh my gosh, I was just so happy. I honestly didn't think we would see him again after Brazil. Like, I really didn't, and I didn't want to get my hopes up in case that Fururate wouldn't show us Oikawa one last time, but I am so glad that he did, and we got to see him on the world stage playing for Argentina, Like, how cool is that? He basically is staying true to what he said and is fulfilling his promise to go and beat everybody, and here he is. Like, oh my gosh. Like, I was just really happy. Also, can we talk about that little hug he had with our boy Hinata? Like, it was the cutest thing ever, and it reminded me of their friendship. Like, I never would have thought that these two would have gotten together in Brazil and just formed this sweet little friendship. Like, it's great. And I'm really glad that we're getting a light novel, like, telling us a little bit more about what happened there. Which, and, you know, amongst other stuff. But, you know, hopefully Viz Media, like, license it in English, please. Like, please, please, please. But if not, I hope somebody out there translates it, because I want to see what all of that's about. Anyways, yeah, so we also get to see what the other Seijo members were up to as well, and they're all supporting Oikawa. Like, they all have like the Argentina flag, and it's just the cutest, purest thing ever, man. Which, funny enough, we also get to see the guys that played against Hinata and Oikawa. And man, it made me laugh so hard when I saw Ken Watanabe, like the guy, he's like, oh, it's Ken Watanabe. And I'm just like, oh, that's great, man. It was really great. Like, I was over here crying over Oikawa and like screaming about him a minute ago, and here I am laughing again. Anywho, so this is also when we get the reveal that Kyotani is on the same team as Tsukishima. And they, you know, Tsukishima here, I was just so happy to get to see my boy one last time. And just seeing him say how watching them on the Olympic stage motivates him even more to try harder and want to do his best. And I'm just like, that's character development, man. That's why I love Tsukishima so much, and why I personally think he's one of the best character developments that we have in Haikyuu. Personally, again, for me, he's like my top #1 best character development out of like all the characters. And I say that because he went from not caring about volleyball and feeling kind of like meh about it to having like all this passion, giving it his all, and being a pro volleyball player. Well, I mean, he's, you know, he has like his other part-time job, but you know, you guys get it. But he's still out there. He pursued this further along. Like, it's not just a club to him anymore. Clearly, like, after all these years, he's over here doing it professionally too, and he just has a love for the sport. I feel like I'll stop my thoughts there with Tsukishima, because let me tell you, if you guys get me talking about Tsukishima, I can go on and on like forever. So let's not do that today. Let's save that for another day. Anyway, so after this we get to see Hetor, I hope I said his name right, and his little family. It's so cute. And we also got to see who is on the Olympic team. And again, like I said, I already knew who was going to be on the Olympic team, so this was no surprise to me, but it was so nice to see everyone together like this on the same stage. Like, oh, like, it was so great. And to see my boy Atsumu out there on the Olympic stage, like, it was great. And like Hinata, like, he looks so cute. And then this is another part that broke me, and another thing that I was really surprised to see, because this character was not on the roster, and I was like, that's kind of interesting. Like, why is he here then if he wasn't on the roster? Like, maybe we'll get some explanation later. I don't know. We'll see. I don't think we'll get an explanation there, but like I said, I don't know. But I got to see Aran on the Olympic stage too, and I was like, wait, then why was he on the roster then that we saw earlier this week? Like, I have some questions. Like, did anybody else notice that? Because at first I had to do a double take, and I was like, am I sure that's Aran? Like, but I'm pretty sure it is. So yeah, because he was there like on the TV where Osamu and Kita were watching. Like, he's on the TV there with Atsumu, so I was like, then why wasn't he on the roster? But anyway, I digress. So that's why I was really surprised to see him, and I was like Aran, which is why you see it in my reaction. And I don't know why, but every time I see Kita, for some reason, I just start bawling my eyes out. Clearly you can see, like, as soon as I saw Kita and seeing him smile and say, like, hey, like, don't you think my teammates are amazing, like my former teammates? I think because, like, as soon as he said that, I already knew what that meant, which basically is when Atsumu said, you know, I'll make sure that you say that you were glad that we were on the same team, that you're proud of us, and we get to see it here. And I was just, I really don't want to cry again. I really don't. But just seeing Kita like smile like that and say that, just, it hit me really hard, and I really don't want to cry. I really don't. Which then leads me to the next final last bit of the chapter. This is when I really started to get really emotional. I was really trying hard to keep myself together, but as you guys can see, just by the end of it, I really couldn't keep it together. I just couldn't. And the reason why I started to get emotional is because we see this quote or a line, and it basically says, let me pull it up. Yesterday you were the defeated. What will you become today? And seeing, like, reading that, it brought me back to that one panel with Hinata when they lost to Kombadai, and he just comes out and you see like this beautiful panel of Hinata, and I started to get really emotional at this point. I was just like, no, like I really don't want to like cry. And like I said, what really did it was when, here, let me see, Haikyuu, also known as volleyball. For whatever reason, that line made me bawl my eyes out, and I was like, you guys can't do this to me right now. And add that on to seeing Hinata and Kageyama once again playing on the same team as the greatest teammates that they ever had. It just added more to the emotions that I was already feeling. And we were able to see them do their quick set one last final time, and that made me super duper emotional. Like, we got to see a little bit of the match between Argentina and Japan, and this is also again where I think I'm pretty sure this is like also another moment where I just was like really bawling my eyes out. The flashbacks of Kurasuno, of these two, their time at Kurasuno, like that whole panel really just punched me in the gut with feelings, and I just completely lost it at this point. I think at this point I was just like really like complete on sobbing, like sobbing. I could not take it anymore. And I think at this point I also had to put my phone down a little bit, take a little bit of a breather, and then afterwards I was like, okay, let's continue. And then of course, nope, as soon as I saw Kageyama and Hinata do their fist bump and see the kid watching Hinata play on the TV, like, I tweeted this out too. I was like, what if Haikyuu ends with like some little boy or some kid seeing Hinata on TV and being inspired to play volleyball? And to see like that. Okay, I need a minute. I'm sorry. I really do need a minute. Doing my makeup while talking about this chapter was a mistake, clearly, because it's about to go. Oh my gosh, I'm about to ruin my makeup. Oh, it's fine. Makeup is makeup. I could always put it back on, right? I'm gonna take it off anyway after this video, so what's the point? And then seeing the gym at Kurasuno, and you know, okay, yeah, I really do need a minute. Hold up, just a second. Whew, okay, I think I'm okay now, clearly, because I'm basically almost done doing my makeup. Sorry about that. It's just, like I said, I needed a moment there, and I think doing the rest of my makeup really helped me calm down a little bit from, you know, going full out sobbing about Haikyuu again. I already cried, like, pretty much all day yesterday. Like, not necessarily, like, all day, but yeah, like, most of the day. So, as I was saying, then we get the last two pages, which we skip over to another year, which is now 2022, and we see that it is like the men's volleyball championship against like Italy and Brazil, and lo and behold, who do we see? Kageyama and Hinata once again fighting on opposite teams, and I just completely lost it. The fact that, let me see if I can pull up the final page. It basically ends with saying, today once again I'm going to win. I was like really like full out sobbing, because like this is it, like that's it. That was the final page of Haikyuu. That's the conclusion. It's really over. But I think the main reason why I started to get emotional seeing these two play against each other again, I think it's because these two became rivals to becoming the greatest teammates they ever had, to having like this great friendship, and now like they're each other's greatest rivals. Like they've always been, and they're best friends, and they've been through so much together. So to see like their stories conclude like really kind of hits hard, but Furudate really did an amazing job concluding the story of Haikyuu, the character stories. Hinata especially, just seeing Hinata's journey from start to finish, like we got to see him grow up into the man that he is now at the end of the manga. And I have to say, as someone who doesn't really read a lot of manga, or actually I really don't touch manga ever, I have stated this a lot on my channel. I am not a manga person. It takes a lot for me to really love a series in order for me to like reach out and want to read the manga. Especially because there have been a few series that, yeah, I did pick up the manga, but I never like completed it or like touched it after like getting 3 volumes after wherever the anime finished, right? But Haikyuu was different. It is different because I actually wanted to see and read it from start to finish, and it has probably one of my favorite satisfying endings that I have read. And again, I say please take that with a grain of salt because once again, I am not a manga reader. This is probably the only manga I have ever read from start to finish was Kiss Him Not Me, Ao How to Ride, which again, 2 romance ones, and finally Fairy Tail. Except with Fairy Tail, I only read it from wherever the anime left off, which I honestly can't remember or tell you guys where that was at. And I gotta say, with Fairy Tail, I was pretty bummed out with the conclusion that it had. Like, it was not satisfying at all. And as of late, I've been seeing like a lot of people not be satisfied with their conclusions for a certain manga. And I'm really glad that we didn't get that with Haikyuu. Haikyuu had an overall satisfying ending and it left me wanting more. But at the same time, I knew like this was it. And I'm so glad that Furudate took the risks that he did, because let me tell you, I was worried about that time skip. I'm not gonna lie. I didn't know where we were headed. I didn't know how this would turn out. I was a little bit afraid of like the unknown, but sure enough, Furudate proved himself, and this conclusion was again one of the most satisfying and one of the best I've seen. This is like my very first sports manga that I have read from like start to finish. I've read Kuroko, but again, like it's one of those where I picked up a few volumes but never like got around to really finishing it up. The only other manga I have probably read was the Ace of Diamond, and that one's not like officially English translated, and it's pretty hard to find like the recent chapters and stuff. Besides Ace of Diamond, like, yeah, Haikyuu has just been one of those that I have treasured from start to finish, and I'm so glad so glad I gave it a second shot when I watched the first season of the anime back in 2014. I'm so glad that I picked it up in 2015, and I picked it up around like my birthday, and I think around that same year I had heard that it was, you know, gonna be licensed through Viz Media. And I remember in 2016 when I first picked up the first volume of Haikyuu and how happy I was. Screw it, like I didn't want to get too emotional because I was saving this for like my next video where I was basically gonna like say my goodbye to like one of the series that I love so much and its characters. Each character had their moment to shine. Each side character grew and had wonderful development, but the one that had like the biggest development was definitely Hinata. Seeing him go from back in Ball Boy arc to like now, it's just really amazing. Like I said, we really saw this character grow up before our eyes, and I'm so glad that I was able to be a part of this journey for 5 years, because again, I read it at the start of 2015. Haikyuu has always been there for me when times were really rough for me in 2016, because let me tell you, times were really rough when I picked it up. And maybe that's also why it's so special to me. Oh my gosh, you guys can see like my mascara is like running now. I look ridiculous, but I can't hold myself back anymore. But I think seeing Hinata try his hardest and never giving up and always taking that first step really motivated me to change up my life and to take that first step. Hinata has taught me so much. And not just him, but I think Tsukishima has also taught me like a lot. I did mention that on my Twitter, but I think, like I said, I'll save those thoughts for my next video. I'm a mess. I'm so sorry. It's just, gosh, what a beautiful ending. I'm just so happy to see the conclusion that I got, but at the same time, I'm sad that to see it go, but you know, all good things must come to an end, and I'm just so grateful that I picked this up. So happy that I stuck with it. So happy that I was able to see these characters' journeys and see like what they've become. I keep repeating myself at this point, so I guess I should end this video now. So I guess stay tuned for like my, you know, thank you for the latte video, my final thoughts, goodbyes and stuff. But again, thank you for the latte really truly for bringing these characters into my life. Yeah, I don't know what else to say. Like, I'm just completely speechless. Like, this was just such a great series overall. I know I was terrible at keeping up with the manga sometimes, and I didn't really make a whole lot of videos here and there, but when I did, I'm really glad that I was able to make videos that I did, because I have been making videos here and there. If you guys want to see those crappy ass videos that I used to do on my phone, I'm pretty sure there's probably a review out there. I could be totally wrong where I filmed it on my phone, but yeah, I'll gladly link them down if you guys want to hear my crappy thoughts. I definitely think I've gotten better over the years. But yeah, so I think that's it. That's all I have to say. I'm gonna save the rest of my thoughts and feelings for the next video that I have planned. So stick around for that. But other than that, I hope you guys enjoyed hearing my final thoughts for this final chapter of Haikyuu. And I hope you guys enjoyed, which, by the way, I am going to be covering the anime, so we have that. So you guys, this isn't the last time you'll hear about Haikyuu from me, obviously. But until then, I hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye!